for joining me today. This is Nina with Walla Stamping. This is the first card in a series of Mother's Day cards that I'm going to have between now and Mother's Day. So be sure to look for a new card each week. And don't forget to visit wallastamping.com for more images and the instructions for this card. A list of supplies is going to be at the end of the video as well as below in the description box. So let's go ahead and get started. The supplies that I'm using today to create this card is, I'm starting out with a card base of Whisper White. This is cut to 8.5 by 5.5 and I just scored and folded it on 4 1/4. Then the colors that I'm choosing to use for my flowers is Calypso Coral, Island Indigo, Melon Mambo, and Daffodil Light. I have those pieces cut to 3.5 by 6.5. Then I have a piece of Old Olive that's 1 by 6, some Pear Pizzazz 1 by 3, and Basic Black 1/2 by 4. I'm going to be using my dark Old Olive Stampin' Blends marker and some Versamark. I have these little jewels here. I think they're called the Faceted Gems. I'll make sure I have the name of them up here on the screen somewhere. And then the adhesives that I'm using are Glue Dots, Tombow Multi-Purpose Liquid Glue, and Dimensionals. Then I have a couple of punches, my Daisy Punch and my 3/4 inch punch. The stamp set that I'm going to be using is the Special Celebrations, and I'm going to use the Thanks for Being You stamp out of there. So I'm going to clean this up and we're going to get started. And I almost forgot, I'm also going to be using the Blossom Builder Punch 2 for the leaves. Now, if you don't have the Blossom Builder punch, but you have another punch that has a leaf, you can use that. Or if you don't have a punch at all that has leaves, if you have a thinlet or framelit set, use that, or just cut them out by hand. So first of all, I'm going to grab my Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to be cutting out some leaves with this. And so what I have found to be the easiest thing for me to do is just to cut a leaf, then cut off that little piece, and then just keep working across. And I'm only going to probably use about 4, maybe 5 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and punch out, well, it looks like 4 is all I'm going to get. So I'm going to punch 4 out of my Pear Pizzazz. Then with my Old Olive, I need 3 of the 3/4 inch circles. So I'm going to go ahead and punch those out first. Then I'm going to punch out some of my leaves just the same way I did before. So I have my leaves and my circles. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut out all my daisies. So what I'm going to do is take each of my colors of cardstock and punch 2 daisies from each. I'm going to grab my bone folder and just slightly put a little bit of a curl on each of the petals. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take each of my 3/4 inch circles, and I'm going to take my scissors next and just cut several little wedges into this circle, going in about probably around 1/4 inch. Just work my way all the way around, and I'm going to do each of them like this. I have my pierce mat, and I also have my paper piercing tool. I'm going to take each of these 3/4 inch circles and use the back side of my tool and just go around in circles to give each one of these a cupped look to it. Then I have my Faceted Gems, which I have colored with my Stampin' Blends marker. And all I did was I just took my marker and just simply colored over each one of those to give them that color, and it dries really quick. So I'm going to take one of each of those and place that in the center of each of my circles. Now they're going to flatten back out a little bit when you put those in there, but all you have to do, whoops, that one didn't get stuck down all the way, is just take your fingers and just curl those back up around each gem. I'm going to use my Tombow Multi-Purpose Glue, and I'm going to stick each of my flowers together like this, and I'm going to stick them down in such a way that you can see both sets of petals. Now these two I'm not going to stick together. What I'm going to do with those is I'm just going to fold them in half, just like this. Now I want to make sure that when I do, I'm folding them so that I can see both of the petals, the ones on top as well as the ones on the bottom. Now we can begin putting everything together on our card. So some of the flowers are going to hang off the ends, and that's fine. And what I'm going to do is just trim those off even with the edge of the card. So I'm going to begin first with my Calypso Coral flowers. I'm going to use my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue for this. The first one I'm going to put right up here, and it's going to be peeking out kind of to the right a little bit. The second one I'm going to put right down here, and it's going to be facing kind of the bottom corner. Then I'm going to take my pink, or my Melon Mambo I should say, and I'm going to stick that one right here, layering it over the top of the Calypso Coral. Then my blue one is going to go right down here. Actually, I need to scoot that this way a little bit. And then finally, my Daffodil Delight, I'm going to use dimensionals so that I can pop that up a little bit above the rest. And I'm going to use two. So I'll put down one, take off the backing, put down the second, and then I will stick this in place. There we go, just like that, and get that punched down, or pushed down, I guess I should say. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is put some glue in the center of each of my flowers and stick my little center pieces right down in there. To adhere all of my leaves, I'm going to be using my mini dimension, or not mini dimensionals, what are these called? Mini glue dots. So that's how I'm going to be attaching all of my leaves. Some of them I'll attach directly to the card front, and some of them I will attach to the back of a petal. So now that I've got my flower stuck down, I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to trim off any pieces that are overhanging on the card. Now I'm going to get my sentiment stamped, and because I am not great on lining up rubber stamps that I cannot see through, I've got this mounted on my Misty tool, and I have to remember, let me take a look and see which way I lined this up. Alright, so I lined my paper up here, the top edge, along with the 6-inch mark, or the 6-inch line. So I'm going to take my embossing buddy and go ahead and put that on my paper. Oops, I moved that just a little bit. Use my Versamark and ink up my Thanks for Being You. Now if you are good at lining up stamps, by all means, you do not have to have a stamp positioning tool to do this with. I'm just really not good at it, so that's why I'm using my Misty. I have my white embossing powder. I'm just going to use a scrap piece of paper, add my embossing powder to my sentiment. So I'm going to put this in about where I think I'm going to want it to be, and that looks good right there. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back. Then I will adhere that down, and just like I did on the flowers, I will flip this over. Oops, I don't guess I needed that extra dimensional, and I will trim that off. So thank you so much for spending time with me today and allowing me to share this first of my Mother's Day card series with you. If you like the video and you want to see more like it, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would also appreciate it if you would like it as well as share it with any of your friends who would enjoy making cards with me. To order any of the supplies that I've used today, you can go to wallastamping.com/order-SU, or you can click on any of the links I provided below in the description box. A list of all that I have used is going to be at the end of this video, and don't forget to visit wallastamping.com for your instruction sheet as well as more images for this card. So again, thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I'll talk to you soon.